Hey, Bills Mafia. We know there's only one topic every day. All Bills, all the time. And now Matt Bove and Sal Capaccio are going really deep, talking Bills all year long, because it's always game day in Buffalo.
We always say that the offseason goes by kind of quick, right? You get to free agency, you get to the combine even before that, owners meetings, draft, OTAs, minicamp. Just a little while ago, it was all reporting for offseason workouts. But here we are, Matt. We have the Bills have just a few more weeks left, and that's it. They break for camp. They break before they go back to camp, I should say. And it's literally one more OTA for us in the media. That's Tuesday, May 27th. And then one more after that, June 3rd. And then it's mandatory minicamp. Welcome to It's Always Game Day in Buffalo, and transitioning here to the last several weeks of offseason.
What is the big story, you think, for the next month? Is it all centered around James Cook? Is that going to be the thing that people probably are the most interested in from a hyper-local level and then from the national outside like kind of audience? That's got to be the big thing, right? Is the James Cook stuff?
It is. I would say that Josh's wedding is going to be very interesting, and people talking about him and getting married.
Crazy.
Right?
That's crazy.
Like, that's going to be something. But yes, from a football standpoint, from football storylines, James Cook is clearly, his contract situation, going to be the number one talked about situation and thing. And that will be talked about even more so or less so, depending on whether or not he shows up for mandatory minicamp and what we're talking about after June 12th.
Did you see the video today from Thad Brown, one of your coworkers from WROC for your show, Buffalo Kickoff? I shouldn't be plugging a competitor show, but whatever. He posted a video that James Cook was in Newark today. I did not know that Newark is part of the Rochester. Like, when I see Newark, I think of Newark, New Jersey, but there must be part of Rochester called Newark. Well, James Cook was there for a Snapdragon Apple event, and he posted some video of him. And he did not take interviews. He did not answer questions from the media that were there. It's just stone-faced. He's like, people are taking pictures of him, and he's just basically stone-faced. So I was like, that certainly didn't pour any cold water onto the potential smoke that is surrounding the James Cook contract talk / negotiations that aren't happening and all of the noise that is going to be around for the next few months.
Yeah, and that's something we're going to be talking about as we get closer. I don't expect him to be there when we go down May 27th or on June 3rd, but June 10th is the date to circle, everybody. That is the start of mandatory minicamp. Tuesday, June 10, Wednesday, June 11, Thursday, June 12. Those are the days the players have to be there, or they could be fined. I
mean, he's going to not. This is, once again, complete speculation. The guess is he probably doesn't show up the first day and then shows up the second day. And he takes the fine, and it's to try and send a message that he's unhappy, an even larger message, I'm sure, than there's already probably out there. That is just completely my guess. It also similar to what we saw happen with Steph a couple years ago, right? I mean, this is the first time something like this has happened for the Bills on this level since the Stephon Diggs stuff. Mm-hmm. And that was right, correct? He didn't show up for the first day of mandatory minicamp.
No, he was there and he got sent home. He was there and he got sent home.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's crazy, because that was such a different layer to the whole thing was just, oh my gosh, that was nuts.
Yeah, that remember, and then Sean McDermott said very concerned or something like that.
But then he should have used different words, he said.
Yes. And we had there was a lot to do with that. And then Diggs came in. But yeah, that happened a couple of years ago during this week that's coming up. Now, we're going to talk a lot more about that as we go forward here. Sure. It's Always Game Day in Buffalo over the next couple of weeks. But in the meantime, big news from the NFL coming out of the Minneapolis owners meetings, the spring owners meetings, not the ones we go to, Matt, in March, but they have another set of owners meetings. When we go to the ones in March and they say, oh, they're going to table something to be voted on, it's now, and it was tabled. We're going to get to a couple of those things, but this is something we knew was coming, and that is NFL players will be participating in flag football in the Olympics coming in 2028 to Los Angeles. Is this good? Is this cool? You like it?
I love it. I think it's cool. from a coverage and fan standpoint, it's a bit concerning and risky to me, right?
Yeah,
Like you've
sure.
got your all-star players that are going to be out there doing things that they otherwise wouldn't be doing. It just, raises the potential risk, but I think the good outweighs the bad. I love it for the sport. I love it for the entertainment value. I will be interested in watching it. And of course, football fans will eat it up because all they want to do is watch football when there's not football on. So I feel like it would be a nice, fun way of kind of easing into the preseason, the training camp part of the summer, and then the ultimate season itself. And we can speculate now for the next 3 years about who could potentially be on the team in 2028 and, who are going to be snubs, because that'll obviously happen.
Okay, so here's a couple of different parts of this. Number one, the NFL stated in its resolution that one or more league-wide insurance policies would provide injury protection. Well, that's great, except let's remember, you can have injury protection with insurance all you want. If you get injured, you get injured, right? And yeah, the player will be protected, but that still means that the guy is injured and he can't play football possibly. Let's remember what happened years ago to Robert Edwards, a running back for the New England Patriots, who tore his ACL playing flag football on the beach. I mean, that happened during a Pro Bowl week, right? I mean, these are things that people are going to be concerned about. Number two, according to how this is laid out, all right, let me read this to you. The NFL will allow for one player from each team to represent a country. So a team could, in theory, have three players playing for three different countries. Okay, so that means basically you could have a player from the Bills on Team USA, a player for the Bills on Team Canada. Josh Palmer's Canadian.
Yep.
A player from the Bills on Team Germany. Whatever. So it is possible. It's not just one player from each NFL team. According to the way this is reading and what I've read, it's one player from each team to represent each different country that's in the Olympics.
Yeah, and I think that locally, right, or if you were a fan of the Bills, the mind immediately goes to, which Bills players could participate in this? I don't think it's going to be I don't think that Josh Allen would play in this. It's 3 years down the road. You're talking about then a 32-year-old quarterback. Like Jaden Daniels is still going to be in the prime of his career. And also just like athletically, Josh Allen is such a unicorn because of what he is able to do with contact, right? Like he is dangerous because of the way he can plow through contact. I think you need somebody who's just purely like a speed guy, who's electricity. And the easy answer is Lamar. But once again, Lamar is in his early 30s. So it's probably Jaden Daniels or somebody else. You know who? This is crazy.
Maybe somebody not in the league right now.
You know who I think the most likely person on the Bills right now to participate is? This is a weird answer, but I think I got a good one.
Ooh, hold on. Most likely person on the Bills to participate. Most likely. Max Hairston.
That's a good answer, but I think because Team USA, that'll easily be the most competitive team. My answer was going to be Dalton Kincaid for Team Canada.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like his skill set is not like a blocking tight end. He has Canadian citizenship.
He has Canadian citizenship. He's from Las Vegas, right?
Yes, but I believe he's a dual citizen because remember that one season he had the Canadian flag on his helmet and then everybody asked about it and he said his mom was from Canada. Yes. So his skill set feels like it fits in with this type of event. He's still very young, so he'll still be in the prime of his career. And I can't think of another tight end with Canadian citizenship who would be selected above him. Like, so he and Josh Palmer, to me, are the ones that are probably more likely to be in there than Josh Allen even is.
Well, in all fairness, I can't tell you what other tight ends might have Canadian citizenship.
Right? Because you're like, I don't know. Exactly.
Right. You never know who could fall into that category. I like this. And look, let's kind of give some background here. And what's happening is obviously, people talk about money and sure, there's going to be some money to this, but I don't think this is all about money. Like I know that maybe I'm being a little bit too naive, right? Because everything seems to be about money and we'll get to a couple of other things that are, but this is about growing the game. That's what this is about. And Matt, do you remember the Dream Team? That was before you, right? You weren't born yet.
No. Yeah.
Okay. You were born late 90s. Dream Team was 1992. And I remember the Dream Team.
That was the year I was born.
Okay. There you go. So let me tell everybody what happened. The reason why the Dream Team was even formed was because for many, many years, the Olympics were just amateurs. That's all it was. You couldn't be a paid professional and play in the Olympics, but other countries didn't treat it like that. The United States did. So the United States would go to these competitions and play teams like Russia or Sweden or Finland in hockey and get their butts kicked. And that's why Team USA in 1980, the American on Ice team, became such a great story, because there's a bunch of amateurs playing really against professionals, right? But that happened for a long time. And then in the late 1980s, our game, quote unquote, our game, basketball, the United States had a bunch of college players play, and they got beat and they lost. And people were mad about it. Like, how could you lose in basketball? Well, it's because you're playing all these professionals from all these other countries. So then the United States said, you know what? We'll show them. Let's put our professionals in. That's how the Dream Team came about. And they proved a point.
Yeah, I also think from like those guys, I'm sure on the Dream Team would say that's probably some of their favorite memories in basketball.
Yep.
And I would imagine that from the football standpoint, these players, they don't play in a sport where you often get to represent your country.
Right.
They would eat that up, knowing that they could potentially win a medal, right? Like you could not just be, hey, maybe you could win a Super Bowl, whatever, however much success you had in college. You could win an Olympic gold medal if you were on that team. And I think those guys would be lining up to try and play for Team USA or whatever country that they have nationality with. I just think that it's going to be an easy sell for the players. And I know, like, they're always protective, and the NFLPA gets involved about adding more football, right? We don't want to add another game. We want to take away this stuff. We're doing too much. We're putting our bodies at risk. This feels like non-contact flag football, chance at a medal. I think that these guys are going to be all over this. I feel like everybody's going to try and be involved if they can.
Well, I don't know. I mean, AJ Brown said he's not interested. I read that today. He's like,
he's got a Super Bowl. He's got a Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah. And
talk to somebody who hasn't won anything big.
He'll also be a little bit older in a few years, right? But advanced 30 years from the Dream Team, and it really became commonplace that pros were playing in all the different sports, right? For better, for worse, for right or for wrong. And now, even more so with NIL, the lines between amateur and pro are completely blurred. So while that's all been happening, you also have football with all of the research and all of the injuries and things like that. Basically, tackle football has, okay, let's, kind of not have young people do it as much, where flag football came in. And a lot more flag football is being played. And now we see, Matt, you see it all the way to high school in Western New York. You're a sports director on the ABC affiliate in Buffalo, Channel 7 WKBW. You see flag football for girls, flag football for boys, women, men, college, high school. It's a really, really incredible explosion of this sport. So you take what I just said about pros playing in Olympics, the explosion of flag football, and how the league wants to grow the game globally. It just makes sense to do this now.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to be way off where, it's like an officially NCAA sanctioned Division I sport or something, especially with girls flag football. Yes. It just makes so much sense that this is the way that they want to try and grow the game. And then you could take it even a step further. I know it's obviously different, but think about the explosion of 7-on-7 football in different parts of the country and just showcasing talent, right? That's why wide receivers are so good now, right? Because like they have those options of 7-on-7 football. So I feel like these are the ways to try and feed the beast that is the NFL. And I commend them for not getting complacent. I think about the interview we did with Mike North several months ago about the NFL schedule. And he said, it wasn't that long ago that Major League Baseball was king. And now think about the way that we view Major League Baseball compared to the way we think about the NFL. I think this is their way of trying to get out in front of it, being proactive and trying to put their athletes on these stages that they're not normally on, right? Like I vividly remember I was with Matt Perino, and we went to so this flag over my shoulder is Fulham FC in London. It's a Premier League soccer team. We went the day before the Bills played in London to watch a game there, a Premier League game. And we're sitting there, and there's all of these Fulham fans around us, of course. We're at their home stadium. And we're like, hey, we're from the United States. We're here for work. We're here covering an American football game. Who are the best players on the Fulham team? And they looked at us like we had three heads. They're like, how do you not know who the best players on the Fulham Premier League soccer team are?
Right.
And I was like, I don't know. And they're like, oh, that's one of our best players. He's American. You definitely know him, right? And I was like, no, I don't. You could be sitting next to me. I'd have no idea. Once that conversation ended, they're like, oh, what team in the National Football League do you cover? We said, the Buffalo Bills. They straight-faced said, any players on that team we would have heard of? And we were like, you ever heard of Josh Allen? They're like, nope. So I was like, whoa, like that's crazy. So think about it.
Would they have heard of Christian Wade, by the way?
Probably not. I don't know. But you think about that, right? Like for as big as the NFL is, the world is a really, really big place.
Yes.
So this is an opportunity to now get your National Football League superstars on the World Showcase for some people who might not know that they exist.
All right. So last question on this. If the 2028 Olympics were in Europe or Asia, not in LA, do you think the NFL does this?
I feel like this softens it's an easier lift. It's an easier
No
way,
doubt.
right? Like,
I don't think it's a coincidence. I think it just lined up, right? If it was somewhere else, I think you'd be debating it, but I don't think today all of a sudden, hey, it's happening. It might take a couple more years to really decide,
Yeah, for sure. Anybody else you think of as like a slam dunk, even just like in the league player to play on this team for Team USA?
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase were the two that I were like, yeah, those guys were probably on this team. Just from,
I mean, actually looking at Ashton Genty maybe right now, like coming into the league, the dynamic running back, for the
probably
Raiders.
Abdul Carter.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
like you're still talking about a player absolutely at the beginning of his career. So we don't know what that turns into. Max Harriston's an interesting one just because of pure speed, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
Exactly.
That's disgusting. If he's good, like he's got a chance to make this team.
All right. So speaking of global games, I'm going to read this quote to you from Roger Goodell. This comes from CNBC today. Very interesting. He spoke with, he's at the owners' meetings and he spoke with a reporter from CNBC. He said, I do see 16 regular season games, meaning international, 16 international games, regular season. And I do think that will happen in the very near future within 5 years, probably.
Yeah.
Matt, they're playing 7 right now this year. Roger Goodell says, I see 16 happening within the next 5 years. Let's do the math.
16.
We all know what that means.
Every team's going.
Every team.
Every team's going to play one international game. And
I also think, by the way, he didn't say this. I think this is going to be in conjunction with an 18-game season.
Yeah. Wow. Man, talk about a tough sell to the NFLPA of there's going to be so much more money to be made, right?
Yes.
But it's like, not only are we asking you to play another game, we're also asking you to travel overseas or to like Australia or something, go play one of these games. Yeah, we'll shorten the preseason to 2 weeks, but this is what we're putting on the table. Like that seems like a little bit of a lofty expectation. So it's good. It's going to happen. I've always thought the 18-game schedule is a matter of when, not if.
Yes.
So I feel like we're trending in that direction, and Roger Goodell saying that clearly makes me think that he's pretty confident that that's going to get across the finish line at some point. That's just that's so
incredible.
much.
I mean, look, I tweeted out that quote, and of course the responses are, and it's not wrong, like, oh my God, the greed and the money and all of that, and it's just what the NFL needs. But look, it's exactly what the NFL wants, though. Yes. I mean, you're not slowing down the train, folks. And it's not going to. There was a theory that the NFL would just cannibalize itself by playing on all these different nights, and Thursday night and Sunday night and Monday night. That hasn't happened, Matt. That the sport is as healthy as ever when it comes to, financial wherewithal and people watching it. It's just that's the reality.
People can't get enough.
That's right.
People cannot get enough. I remember hearing once that if you just put the schedule release in a show, like before there were all the leaks and everything, if you just put a show of just announcing the schedule, it would do a higher rating than any other sporting event that was on television that exact same night. And that's just announcing when the games are going to be played the following season. So
yes,
I'm just like, they're trying to continue to dominate, and it feels like they're taking steps in that direction.
Follow us on X at Matt_Bove, at Sal Sports. It's always Game Day in Buffalo, wherever you pod audio. And of course, on video at Sal Sports. Make sure you go over to the YouTube side of things, hit subscribe, watch It's Always Game Day in Buffalo every time we're on. You can just put us on in the background and listen to us while you're mowing the lawn these days. Hopefully in Buffalo, you have some time to mow the lawn, because right now it's getting, man, the rain that's coming, the cold that's coming. We have a baseball tournament this weekend for Maxie's 11. And I'm like, listen, I hate saying this. I kind of almost hope that it gets canceled. I do not want to be sitting out in 50-degree rain watching baseball. That's what's going to be this weekend.
Yeah, that's brutal. It's really, honestly, today we're recording this on Tuesday. It was at least sunny today.
Yes.
When the sun was out, it felt good. But if the clouds covered the sun, it was cold. You're like, whoa, I have a hoodie on right now. So it's because I was outside. And, I get it. It takes a little while to get to this point. 50 degrees now feels a lot different than 50 degrees does in the fall in November. But still, it's like, I don't know if I'd want to be sitting out in the rain watching rainy baseball. That doesn't seem like my cup of tea. It could be 85 degrees and I wouldn't want to sit outside and watch baseball. You know how I am.
Oh, yeah, I know it. By the time you listen to this or watch this, we might know if the tush push is staying or not. They're having a vote on it this week at the NFL owners meetings. We talked a lot about this during the March owners meetings.
Yeah.
We know that Sean McDermott was on record saying that he would like the play to be gone. He cited safety concerns as a member of the competition committee. They're really good. There's a lot of back and forth on both sides of these things. What do you think? I know, I don't know if I don't remember if you said you wanted to stay or wanted to go. I know we talked about it from a Bills angle and Sean McDermott, but do you have a personal preference here?
I don't know enough about the safety aspect of it to feel strongly in that way. My argument, about not wanting it banned is if you don't want to get in that position, play better defense on first, second, and third down, right? Like, don't let it get to that point where it's 3rd and 2 or 4th and 1 or whatever it is. I would not ban it. But if there is legitimate evidence that says it's a safety concern, then I understand the momentum in that side of the argument. So that's kind of where I am. If there is legitimate reason that it is a more dangerous play than a turnaround and hand the ball off or a regular quarterback sneak, then get rid of the play. Try and make the game as safe as possible.
Okay.
If there's not, just stop it.
You're a good person for me to do this on then and to talk to.
Okay.
I want to convince you here on this podcast why it should be taken away.
Okay.
I want to do that.
Okay.
I don't want you to think about safety. I have nothing to do with safety. I think there could be safety concerns. I haven't seen one. All it takes is one, though, like someone rolling on an ankle. And right. All it takes.
Yeah, of course.
It's not about safety at all. It's not even actually about the play and, stop the play. It's such an advantage. The Bills are great at it. They're one of the best teams in the league at it. We know that.
Except at the AFC Championship. But yeah.
Yeah, they were terrible at it in the AFC Championship game. We know that. And they ran it the same way every time and all of that. I don't want to. I've been on this for a long time. Even before all of this started, I never liked the play. For decades and decades and decades, there was a rule in the NFL that said you can't put your hands on a runner and push him from behind. You also can't go and take the guy from the front and pull him forward. The rule literally was called aiding the runner. It was a rule in the NFL since the existence of football, pretty much for all my years growing up until 2005. Suddenly, without anyone even knowing it, it just went away. Poof, vanished in midair. There's no rule on the books anymore. All of a sudden, the tush push comes in and people are like, well, isn't that a rule? No, we got rid of that. Why did they get rid of it? I understand why. Because it was considered too tough for officials to actually be able to tell what was happening when there were piles and things like that, and said, it's too tough for us to officiate. So you know what? We're just going to get rid of it. Football is a game where you should block someone and you should have the ability to tackle. It is not a game where you should run up to somebody, put your hands on their butt, on their back or whatever, and push them forward into somebody who doesn't have a chance at being able to tackle them in that case. I don't think it's anything, to me, it's about the spirit of the game and a rule that's always existed. It's called aiding the runner. This rule, the way that the Packers are presenting it now, takes care of all of that. It says no more pushing and no more pulling. I hate watching a game where a guy runs up, and I know Deion Dawkins does it. I get it because
I was going to say it happens all the time.
That's right. Runs up in front, grabs James Cook and pulls him. That's not football to me. Football is tackling the guy. And I get the point of officials not being able to be able to see it or officiate it. We do have some replay if you want to bring that in. I don't want to necessarily bring more replay in. But I do want to say this, and this is where I think the convincing argument most comes in. If I haven't convinced you yet, here's what I'll tell you. I don't think people realize, Matt, this is the rule in high school. High school football does it right. The rule in high school football says you can push the pile. You can't push the runner. It's never changed. It's illegal. It shouldn't be in football.
Yeah. The only thing that I have there is the push the pile and not the runner is I have a hard time knowing you know what I mean? Like
that's
to the naked eye. Exactly.
That's what the officials say. That's right.
To the naked eye, how do I know who's actually getting pushed? And if you're pushing the pile, then isn't somebody in the pile also pushing the runner for momentum and getting them forward? I would say you got to be okay then with I'm not saying you, but just in general, If you feel that way, then you got to be okay with James Cook running for 6 yards into a group of people and then Dion pulling him another 5 and everybody loses their mind and the Bills are flexing their muscles of look how strong we are. You got to take the good with the bad. And
I'm okay with a big pile of we're just going forward and going forward and going forward and going forward.
Yeah.
I just don't think you should physically be able to, when you see it and have to be able to be seen, put your hands on somebody and go, I'm just going to push that guy forward. Can you, here's a counter argument to it. Can you do that on defense? Can you do it on a field goal? Can you do it on special teams, I should say?
No.
What? Why not? Why can't we push somebody? Why can't we push a tackler into the guard?
Why are we surprised, though, that there's rules that favor the offense?
100%. So let's not do that. Let's give the defense something else then here. Give the defense a chance to be able to tackle somebody like they normally should in football. And if you can't tackle him, that's fine. He shouldn't have to go against a 300-pounder pushing the guy into him.
I think that all of the points you make are super valid. And I'm not going to be adamant if they get rid of it. I'm not going to be like, oh my goodness gracious, what a dumb league that this is. I'm not going to get to that point at all. It's hard because it feels like the team that ran it the best won the Super Bowl, and it feels like very sore loser energy to try and get rid of a play that they were so successful at, which is a weird perception of it because the Bills were probably the second best team at it. So it feels weird to have the stance of like, oh, you've got to get rid of it after that team just won. If they didn't win the Super Bowl, I don't think there would be nearly as much heat on getting rid of the play. But they did just win the Super Bowl. So it almost, to me, is like, if you really want to get rid of the play, wait a year. If they win the Super Bowl again, like, maybe you
this reminds me of. This reminds me of, I'm the guy who, like, you know how sometimes there's this really great band that you like, Matt. You've been into this band, and then all of a sudden everybody loves the band. Like, wait a minute, I've been watching this and been loving them for a while. This is me with this play. I've been saying this for years. I'm like, we shouldn't be doing this. Now everybody's caught up and it's like, oh, what? Now it's about the Eagles and winning the Super Bowl. It's not for me. It's not. It's never been about that for me.
Yeah, but that's how it, not you, but I know that's how it feels. Yes. It feels like a witch hunt against the team that just won the Super Bowl, who has had a ton of success against it. And I understand the league does not need to be concerned with optics, but I think you could wait a year and the optics would be a lot better. And then I don't think you would be having nearly as much backlash. Personally, that's just my opinion on it because I'm not adamant either way. So that's why I care about the optics because I don't feel super strongly in either direction.
We will see what happens. They need 24.
What do you think happens?
I think it stays. You need 24 votes to change a rule. You got to get 24 teams to say we don't want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
Getting tabled leads me to believe it's leaning towards staying because it feels like the league didn't have enough momentum to do it when they were at the owners' meetings in Florida. So also, it feels like an uphill battle.
Getting tabled also
can lobby. Teams can lobby.
And I think the league wants it gone.
I definitely think
and that's why, to me, the league is probably been lobbying for the last 2 months.
Yeah, but did you also see, I think I saw a report, I don't remember who it was from, that the Eagles were calling teams and like, don't get rid of this play, the integrity. So, but I'm sure the teams in their division are probably like, smell you later.
Do you think they called the Bills and said, hey, if you vote against it, we won't use it against you on December 28th when we play Sunday Night Football at your place?
I don't think that was said. Probably.
No? Okay.
No.
You never know.
Probably. Yeah, it's funny because I want to know what the leagues would be. Like, what would the league be trying to, like, this is you scratch our back, scratch yours. Like, what are they doing in return? Like, hey, really want this. We really want this to not be in the game. And if we have your vote, then you won't have to go to Australia in a couple of years. We'll send you to London.
There you go.
We'll shorten the flight. Or like, what are those what are those, behind the scenes conversations look like?
All right. So the other thing that was tabled that the league would like to do, the league wants this. There's really some good arguments on both sides of this, I think, too, is reseeding the playoffs, right?
I have a stronger opinion on this.
So let me explain to everybody. They know. So right now, if you win your division, you get a home playoff game. You get a home playoff game if you win your division, and you're seeded 1 through 4 based on the record of the division winners. If you get a wild card, you're in a separate bucket. Does not matter what your record is. You could have 3 more wins in the division winner. Doesn't matter. You're getting one of the bottom 3 seeds. You're going on the road. The new proposal would be, hey, you win your division, you still make the playoffs. You make a wild card based on record, you still make it. Same teams would make it. That would not change. But all we're going to do is we're going to say, based just on record, we're going to seed you. So if you win your division, you're not guaranteed a home game. You still have to have the record to do it. What do you think?
I feel like we might disagree on this. I like it the way it is, personally. Now, I understand it doesn't make sense the years that the NFC South was sending a team with a losing record to the playoffs and hosting a playoff game. I get that the playoff spot in itself is the reward for winning the division, but I feel like if you win your division, you should host a playoff game. I truly do. Just maybe it's just so ingrained in me because of how long this has been a thing. But I feel like if you go through the gauntlet of a season with all of these games against your division, the reward shouldn't just be getting into the postseason. It should be hosting a game. Like, it feels like part of the path to the Super Bowl should be going through your home stadium because you won your division. It feels like getting rid of this would make the divisions that I don't think are that significant already a little bit less significant. And I don't want to hurt the rivalries and hurt the traditions of the divisions more so than they already are.
Okay, so not necessarily disagree. I'm like you on this, like you are with the tush push. Like, I have a feeling, but it doesn't. I can go either way on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do think there's a very good argument to be made to reseed and to pass this proposal. But to me, it's not as much to do with the actual playoff games and seeding. I fall on what I think the league's argument is, which is a very good argument. Matt, you do this, and those Week 18 games become even more critical and massive because you're playing for seeding. You're not just, if you win your division, you get to Week 18, you're like, yeah, we can't really go anywhere anyway. We're playing, we're in the 3 or the 4. What does it really matter?
Yeah.
Now it's like, we better win to guarantee ourselves a home game. In fact, last year in the NFC, Lions and Eagles, they were number 1 and 2. They would have been number 1 and 2 no matter what. But Commanders and Vikings, they both would have hosted a playoff game, according to this, where instead they had to go on the road because they have better records than the wild card team. And if you go into Week 18 and have to, and if you have, Week 18 is one thing, but if you go into the playoffs with a better record, I do think there's an argument to be made. As you said, you brought up gauntlet of a season. Hey, it's a gauntlet of a season. I would say, I'm doing a gauntlet of a season. I have a better record than you. Why shouldn't I get a better reward then?
Yeah, that's true. And this is not something you could plan for, but there are teams that are able to feast on poor divisions, right? Yes. And there's that aspect of it. The Week 18 point is a good point. The other side of that, though, is what if you're fighting for the difference between the 3 seed and the 2 seed, and your quarterback gets hurt, and now all of a sudden your season's done, and that player's out of the playoffs, right? Like, I know that could happen at any point. That could happen in Week 17. That could happen. Or
I'll give you another one on your side for this. You could say, yeah, but maybe you're rewarded by getting to Week 18 and not having to do that. Yeah, hey, Bills got rewarded. They didn't have to, hey, let them rest their guys, right? That's also an argument I think to be made for what you're saying.
Yeah, who thought it was a bad idea this year for the Bills to rest basically everybody of significance against the Patriots after a couple drives? So it almost feels like a built-in bye week for teams that are really, really good, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I want to see the best product on the field in the playoffs to try and really, truly determine who the best team is. I know that's not how it always happens, so it does feel like a little different, right? Like, I don't know. I feel stronger about this than I do about the tush push, but I certainly understand the argument about, if you're a 12-win team or something and you finish second in your division, you probably should be hosting a game the following week.
All right. We put the call out for some questions here on the pod. The first one actually was, give us your thoughts. This is from Niagara River Blues. Thank you. An update on the James Cook situation. So hopefully we address that for you. Okay. What else? Let's see. Let's see if I can get any questions here. Let me refresh here. What other questions will we have? Will
Team USA wear red helmets before the Bills?
I love it.
Probably not. That's 2 years into the stadium. Don't you feel like they've got to do something? Like something fun? First couple
Yeah.
years.
Hey, have you thought about that Nike that uniform thing they're doing, which is kind of like the City Connect, like what game that's going to be? Because we don't know. They said it'd be a division game, Dolphins, Patriots, or Jets.
It's going to be Patriots Sunday Night Football.
I think so too, right? It's got to be. Do you know for sure?
Like
Are you breaking that news here today?
I'm not reporting that, but it feels like that's the window. It feels like Sunday Night Football window against the Patriots. Like it feels like that just checks a lot about. It could be Miami week 3, but for some reason this feels bigger than Thursday Night Football. So that's why I would say, hey, do it on Sunday Night Football. As for like what the concept is going to be, I have no clue. Like there's nothing in my brain that makes me think I know what they're thinking. The Bills are thinking or the league is thinking.
MAF43 says, do you gentlemen, thank you very much, calling us gentlemen, have any early indication if the Bills plan on special themes this year for the closing of the Ralph Rich Stadium, Highmark Stadium, particularly the opener and the regular season finale? Come hell or high water, was at the last one at the Rock Pile, and I'm going to be at the last one here. Good for you, MAF. Last one.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
That's really cool. I love that. I know, Matt, you've been talking to a lot of people about the closing of the stadium and, some memories and things like that. Have you gotten any indication from, talking to the Bills at all about different specific ceremonies? I did in our interview with Pete Gwelly. I know we both talked with him. I know he did say with me one-on-one at the owners meetings that
they have plenty.
They are going to be very cognizant of the closing this year and things they're doing all year. But have you heard anything specific?
Not anything specific. I know what I would do. I haven't heard anything specific from the team. What I would do is they're not going to do this because this is biting off more than you could chew, but I would almost have like an eras theme to like different games of trying to use either jerseys from that era for a particular part of the season. Like how cool would it be to see them wearing the 90s Bills jerseys with the red helmets for a portion of the season as a way to kind of say goodbye to that stadium, because that is where that jersey would be synonymous with that stadium. So that to me is a missed opportunity, because it feels like the only other uniform that they'll wear this year is the rivalry jersey that we were just talking about. And I'm assuming they'll probably bring the standing Buffalo back for one game this year. So you'll have a couple different variations, but not nearly as much as I would like to see. I'm sure there's going to be special events and there's going to be a lot of different things planned, but there also are still really important football games. So you're trying to delicately balance commemorating a stadium full of so many memories while also realizing you're playing some really important football games against some really good teams, that you don't want that to overshadow the games themselves.
This one comes from Sal Capaccio to Matt Bove. Matt, what is your generation's Cheers? Norm, George Wendt passed away the day we're recording this at 77. He was amazing. He walked in the bar. Norm. I mean, it was unbelievable. What a great series it was. It was must-watch TV every week. And I also just read, and I retweeted the rest in peace to Norm to this tweet. 32 years ago today, Matt, 80 million people tuned in to watch the final episode of Cheers. To this day, get this, it is the second most watched sitcom finale ever and 7th most watched non-sports event of all time. And the most watched sitcom finale ever, I would say, was the previous, not my generation, before me, MASH. That's right. MASH. So you had MASH, you had Cheers. What's your generation?
I don't know if there's anything from my because as somebody who works in television, the medium has changed so much, because before it was really all there was, right? There was TV and there was radio. Now, with the internet, with streaming, with all of these different platforms and all of these different places that you can get content, traditional linear television does not have the same significance and impact that it did during the Cheers era. Like, it was must-see TV. You knew, okay, I've never seen Cheers, but whatever night it was on, of like, okay, it was going to be on at this night, at this time, and everybody's going to watch it. It's not that way right now, because even with the new shows that everybody loves, they're on streaming. You turn them on whenever you want, whenever is convenient for you. So I don't know if there would be a show or something that would have such a significant cultural impact as the shows like Cheers did, as MASH did, as Seinfeld did.
So would it be Seinfeld, or is that a little bit too early for you?
That's I guess, too early for my generation. That's not.
Let me give you the most watched sitcom finales ever. I have them right here. Okay, this is according to Wikipedia. MASH, 105 million. Amazing. That's MASH, Cheers, The Fugitive, which wouldn't be a sitcom, actually. All right, so MASH, Cheers, Seinfeld, Friends, The Cosby Show, All in the Family, Family Ties, Home Improvement, Frasier. Everybody Loves Raymond. So that's like the top 10.
Even Friends is not like predating me, but Friends reached its peak before my I'm a millennial. I'm 32 years old. So I would say my generation hasn't had like a truly dominant sitcom to the level that these shows are. We've had really important shows in different like pieces of content that have made significant impacts culturally. Like Game of Thrones was so big, but it's not a sitcom. Sitcom. Severance now is massive, but also not a sitcom.
Like,
so
I think, ER, Hill Street Blues, like through in my lifetime, these are the ones that are resonating, like you're saying. These were just massive shows that weren't sitcoms, but everybody tuned in and could not wait to watch.
Do you have a favorite show?
Of any genre or
anything? Yeah,
like now, current, all time.
Do now and all time.
The Office is one of them.
Yeah.
Anytime The Office reruns are on, I still watch those. It's one of them. I was a big Cheers watcher. Loved Cheers. The Sopranos.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sal
amazing.
Capaccio likes The Sopranos.
Yeah, right. It was crazy. We really got into Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad's good.
We got into that, and I'll tell you, Yana and I watched before Max was born. Breaking Bad was before he was born, but we binged 24 with Jack Bauer. Oh, it was amazing. Loved it.
That's what's that guy's name?
Kiefer Sutherland. Yeah.
Kiefer Sutherland. Yeah.
We love anything Kiefer Sutherland's in, by the way. I think he's awesome.
Yeah. What's that? Designated Survivor?
We watched that too. Yeah,
that was an ABC show.
Yeah.
For me, have you watched Severance?
I haven't. I've heard it's amazing.
It's incredible. Like I cannot recommend Severance.
I saw, you see the Baltimore Ravens did their schedule release based on Severance?
Yeah, okay. It was very, but here's the thing. If you haven't seen the show, it makes no sense. Right. So like,
exactly.
To me, incredible. Well done. But to you, you're like, why is this happening? None of this makes any sense.
Okay.
The range of emotions that I went through for the season 2 Severance finale, like I'm not going to give any spoilers away or anything like that, but sitting there, so I watched it, my wife did not. I'm sitting on the couch in our living room. I was like sweating. It was so intense. I was like, this is crazy. This is television. I was like, this is insane how good this is. I am so fired up. I am shocked that it lived up to the expectations. But my favorite show of all time is The West Wing. But I love like politics.
Yeah.
I mean, it intertwines so many things that I'm interested in. Like
I've always been
politics
told
and
that
media and just chef's kiss. It is so good.
You know who else is a big fan of that show? I gotta watch it. I gotta go back and
Howard
watch
Simon.
And Mike Show.
Oh, a show.
Love the West Wing. Yes, he would talk
West
about
Wing
the West
guy?
Wing a lot. Yeah.
It is a really fantastic television show. So it's old now, but it still holds up the test of time fairly well.
House of Cards was good.
Yeah, I've never seen
another political show. So there's a lot of good ones, but rest in peace to Norm. Lots of great memories and great laughs over the years. All right, before we wrap up here we go, Matt. It is the Final Four in both the NBA and the NHL. Who you got?
Who do I got or who do I want? I feel like those are different
Let's talk about
questions.
both. Let me ask you this. Let's start in the NBA. Do you root for the Knicks? Are you a Knicks fan?
Hell yeah. I root for not like really. Like I can't name like more than 6 players on the team. But
that's actually not bad though.
They are so much more to me.
Pretty good.
It is awesome. Like that has become the team that I've not adopted because that would be an insult to people who are truly fans of the team. But I have found myself, I told you this the other day when we talked to McDermott, I have found myself watching way more basketball than I have hockey. I don't know why, but I just have been casually watching basketball, and the Knicks have been the team that I've really been watching. So I want them to win more than any team in either league. Like if you told me right now you could pick any team to win either the NBA Finals or the Stanley Cup, I would pick the Knicks for sure. I'm assuming you would pick the Oilers.
I would pick the Oilers. Yep, I want the Oilers to win. I'm rooting for them, although I think it's very tough against Dallas. It makes it even more for me to root for the Oilers because I just do not like the Dallas Stars. And it goes a lot back, goes to, foot in the crease, but just it's Dallas, it's Buffalo and Dallas in the Super Bowls. It's Dallas has all this shiny stuff. Heck with them. I don't want them to win another Stanley Cup. They've already done that. I don't want to see it. Oilers, obviously McDavid, obviously Zach Hyman. and just a great hockey city. You know, that would be great to see. And the other side on the West. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's disgusting. It's like it's Carolina, Florida,
right? And that's what I meant to say. And the other side in hockey, I can't root for Carolina because of the history with the Sabres and being Carolina.
Absolutely
so I'm going to root for Florida. And even though they have some personalities I've never liked, like Marchand, obviously, but they won it, so it's okay.
Yeah, all those guys have grown on me too. Like,
yeah,
all
right. The way
all of the weird rats on Florida,
yeah.
they've grown on me, and I don't know. I don't want them to win. I'm rooting for whoever comes out of the West, even if it's Dallas. But I feel like my guess is it'll be Dallas, Florida. So probably Carolina, Edmonton.
I'd be okay with either team in the West and the NBA winning it. That's a cool story with.
Oh yeah, definitely.
OKC and Minnesota going at it. I think either one of them, that's great. Like, hey, that's cool if one of them win an NBA title, right? And there's so many good personalities on both those teams.
I love all four of the basketball teams. I can make the argument of why I would be fine with them winning. I want the Knicks to win. Anthony Edwards is absolutely electric. OKC was phenomenal all season long. They're an absolute wagon. And then, hey, I think the Pacers are the team that probably the most casual fans like myself would groan at a little bit. Halliburton's incredible.
Oh, yeah. But I have to tell you about the Knicks for me. I've always hated the Knicks because it's New York. The only New York team I like at all is the Yankees. Grew up a Yankees fan. So I've just always kind of hated the Knicks. I don't want to see New York teams win. But, man, what a vibe it is watching a playoff game, right, at Madison Square Garden. It really is. If the Knicks were playing, a lot, I rooted for the Knicks against the Celtics kind of begrudgingly because I just hate the Celtics so much.
Yeah.
And it was such a vibe. It was great to see them win. And I like this group of Knicks players. They're a good group to root for, I think. They really are.
Definitely.
Not like if you were back in the 90s when they had John Starks and Charles Oakley and that group, you either loved them or hated them, right? It's you either totally, you were a Knicks fan or you could not stand anything about anything they did, the way they played, the personalities, anything like that. Pat Riley was their coach, all of that. It's a little different now. But on the other side, boy, man, the Pacers, as you said, it's Indiana, it's basketball, and they've been to this spot a few times. They can't get over the hump. Halliburton's great. I think I'm rooting for the Pacers, but I don't dislike the Knicks like I've always disliked the Knicks.
Well, a lot of it is the personalities of the players and the guys that they have on that team. Like Brunson's awesome, right? Yes. There's a lot of guys on that team that people really, really like. So, who's incredible? Bridges is so good.
They're all amazing.
Just so
well
good.
Coached.
Every time it's those two first games of the Boston series, the defensive plays that they made at the end of those games to win the games. I was just wow, this is really, really impressive stuff. So I'm excited. It was Monday night. Monday night felt weird because there was no playoff basketball on and there was no playoff hockey on, and I missed it. I am somebody who that is what I'm watching. One of the reasons I don't watch enough shows is because I'm always watching sports. The only time I really get into the shows is in the middle of the summer, just because I'm not a baseball guy. So when I have to fill my void, that's when I fill it with either movies or shows as opposed to baseball.
Okay, so I'm going to give everybody 2 homework assignments. Okay, 2 homework assignments out there for everybody. Number 1, go subscribe to me on Twitter. I forgot to tell everybody that. So go do that. Go to my profile page, hit the pink subscribe button. It's less than a cup of coffee a month. You're going to get exclusive content, easy access to me. We have a Discord server. We talk Bills schedule, Bills. I got a Yankees channel, a Sabres channel. Oh yeah, Mitch Marner discussion, all of that, which we didn't get into today. Right? So we have all that. Subscribe to me. Here's your other homework assignment. Go watch the intros to the NBA and NBC during the 1990s Knicks Pacers series games. I tweeted one out today on YouTube. It's from Game 7 of 1994. Matt, because you work in TV and because you work in sports TV, you have to watch this. It's amazing. It's Bob Costas. It's storytelling. And he starts off by saying they call the NBA playoffs the second season. But in reality, it's the only season. And he goes into the Knicks story and the Pacers story. And it's 2 minutes worth of storytelling. It's how you used to intro sporting events. We don't do that anymore.
Well, Not to the level that it once was,
Right.
but I'm always incredibly impressed when after the fact, I'll see the content that is put together specifically for the NFL by either CBS or NBC or Fox,
Right.
ABC, whoever it is. Like if you're at the game covering it, you don't get to see these things, but then you see it peeled back a couple weeks later or a couple days later, and I'm like, wow, like these are impressive. So I am excited to watch that. The one sport that does that better than probably anybody is hockey, in my opinion. Like the Stanley Cup videos and what it means is so easy to portray and just convey to people that I'm like, oh, those videos always give me goosebumps. Like, you ever seen the one where it's just a bunch of cut-ups of people not knowing what to say after they've won the Stanley Cup?
I don't know. I don't know if I've seen that one. No.
Oh, I'll find it and send it to you. It'll send a chill down your spine.
Well, if you get it, I'll have to watch that when you get a chance. Everybody, you can go follow me and look at my Sal Sports Twitter. I tweeted out Game 7 Eastern Conference Finals 1994 Knicks Pacers Open. It's Bob Costas, and it's amazing. The other one is Costas doing the Open for Notre Dame, Florida State, 1-2 in football in the 90s, and it's just amazing. You got to watch these kinds of things. They bring it back to a very nostalgic era of television and all of this. So yeah, I loved it. It was great.
Good stuff. I'm excited to watch it.
All right. Thanks a lot for watching us. Make sure you go to the YouTube side if you are just listening and you want to watch us and see our smiling faces at Sal Sports on YouTube. We got a lot more coming your way over the next few weeks. We got OTAs coming up. We have minicamp coming up, mandatory minicamp June 10, 11, and 12. And of course, subscribe to us wherever you pod, iTunes, Spotify, and anywhere else. Thanks a lot to Mike Robier, our producer here on It's Always Game Day in Buffalo. For Matt, I'm Sal. We'll talk to you next time.